All right, let's just jump right in. So you've built something you're proud of, right? An app, a website, maybe a whole community. But how do you really know if people actually love it? I mean, not just say they love it, but truly, deeply engage with it. Well, today we're going to break down exactly how to measure what really matters. You know, it's the question that keeps pretty much every creator up at night. You open up your analytics and you just wonder, is anyone actually here? Is my product this bustling city, or is it just a digital ghost town with tumbleweeds blowing past the login page?
Because the ultimate goal for all of us is achieving this thing called product market fit. And look, it's way more than just a buzzword. It's that incredible feeling when you're no longer pushing your product onto people. Instead, your users are literally pulling it from you, asking for more. That's the destination. But how do we actually find the path to get there?
So let's start with section 1, the product market fit question. Because let's be real, the challenge isn't just launching. It's knowing, with confidence, if you're actually connecting with the right people.
You hit that launch button, the virtual confetti settles, and then what? Sometimes it's just silence. And that silence can be deafening. It's so easy to just guess or assume things are going well. But what you really need is a system to listen, not to what users say they'll do, but to what their actions are telling you every single day.
Okay, so let's build that system. Let's talk about your user engagement toolkit. And don't worry, this isn't about some complicated data science. It's a really straightforward framework for understanding exactly how people are interacting with your creation.
And it all boils down to this simple 3-step process. First, we're going to define your scope, basically setting the boundaries for what we're looking at. Second, we'll pinpoint your channels, figuring out where your users are hanging out. And finally, we'll track key metrics, choosing the right numbers to actually watch. So let's break these down.
First things first, scope. Before you measure a single thing, you have to draw a box around what you're looking at. Are we talking about last week or the last quarter? Are we analyzing all of your users, or maybe just new signups? Or what about just your premium subscribers? Defining this stuff first is absolutely crucial because it stops you from drowning in data later.
Next up, channels. You know, engagement doesn't just happen in one spot. Your users are interacting with you all over the place, on your app, on social media, through your newsletters, maybe even at webinars. The key here is to map out all these different touch points so you can get the full picture of what's going on.
Now for the fun part, the metrics. Let's start with two of the big ones, DAU and MAU. So, daily active users, or DAU, tells you if your product is a daily habit. Is it sticky? Think social media. On the other hand, monthly active users, MAU, gives you a much broader look at your total audience size. Think of a tool you use less often, like for doing your taxes. Both are vital, but they tell very, very different stories.
And then you've got the engagement rate. I love this analogy. Think of your product like a party. Your total user count is basically everyone who RSVP'd. But your engagement rate, that tells you who's actually on the dance floor. This percentage is so important. It shows you what portion of your audience is really participating.
And what about a number like this, average session duration? This one's pretty simple. It tells you how much time people are willing to invest in your product each time they visit. Is it just a quick in and out kind of stop, or are they actually settling in, exploring, and spending some real, meaningful time with what you've built?
Okay, so we've gathered the numbers. Now for section 3, decoding the story behind the data. We've got to find the why behind what your users are actually doing.
And to find that story, you have to start looking for patterns. What are the first 3 things almost every new user does? Which feature gets used 10 times more than any other? And, just as important, where are people getting stuck or just giving up? These are the breadcrumbs that make up your user's journey. And you know, when you actually visualize the data, the story often just jumps right out at you. A simple chart like this can instantly show you what your product's core value is, right from your user's perspective. You can see, clear as day, which features your power users absolutely cannot live without. Now, on the flip side, you have the drop-off points. This quote, yeah, it's fictional, but it represents a very real moment of friction for a user. And honestly, identifying where these moments happen, where people get frustrated and just leave, is one of the most powerful things you can possibly do to make your product better.
And this is where it gets really powerful. Don't just look at your users as one giant blob. Segment them. For example, new users and returning users behave completely differently. New users might have a lower engagement rate because they're still just exploring, but your returning users, they're probably focused on one core task. Understanding these differences is absolutely key.
So, you've got the numbers, you found the story, what's next? Well, that brings us to our final section, turning all these amazing insights into real, tangible action. And what do you know? It's another simple 3-step plan. Based on what you've learned, you identify specific actions to improve engagement. Then you decide which channels need a little more focus. And finally, you choose which metrics you're going to watch in the next cycle to see if your changes actually worked. It's a continuous loop, right? You listen, you learn, and you just keep on improving.
Ultimately, everything we've talked about brings us right back to that huge question we started with. Are you engaging enough users to validate traction, that real, measurable momentum, and ensure you have product-market fit? This isn't a question you answer just one time. It's something you should be asking constantly as you guide your product forward.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's simple. Stop guessing what your users want. The data has the story. You have the toolkit now. Start listening to what your users do, not just what they say, and I promise you'll be well on your way to building something that people truly, genuinely love.